Red John's actions had a positive impact on Jane's development.
Look at you.
Me?
Well, until your wife and your daughter were killed, you were blind, weren't you? You were living an illusion. But Red John opened your eyes. Now you see the world for what it truly is.
In his former life, Jane pretended to be a psychic. He acted as if he could communicate with the spirits of the dead. Jane made millions of dollars doing it. He knowingly lied to his clients for money. But when Red John killed his wife and daughter, Jane's life did a complete 180. He started to work for the CBI and he stopped pretending to be a medium. So, was Rebecca right? Did Red John really open Jane's eyes? The answer is yes and no. To understand it, we need to take a look at the whole picture. At a young age, Jane's father, Alex Jane, noticed Patrick's immense potential as a performer. He could see through people almost instantly. He knew about their circumstances, current state of being, and what was on their minds. Patrick's abilities were perfect for the show business he and his father worked in. But at first, there was a huge difference in their mindsets. Jane originally had a conscience, and his father didn't. One day, a child with stage 4 cancer and her rich grandmother came to visit the Janes because Alex told them he had a magic crystal with healing abilities which could supposedly cure stage 4 cancer. Obviously, it was a scam, and Patrick was expected to be part of this plan. The goal was to sell the crystal for as much money as possible. The evil plan of Alex shows that he's a cold, opportunistic businessman without any compassion. He took advantage of a dying child to scam her desperate, loving, and wealthy grandmother. Alex clearly had no conscience at all. Patrick, on the other hand, when he was confronted with the dying child, didn't feel comfortable with the plan anymore and he escaped the situation. As we can see, Patrick has a conscience, and it alarmed him that what he was doing was wrong. Alex chased after him and made a devastating rationalization.
She's dying. Okay, we're stealing from a dying girl.
Okay. Yeah, we're all dying, kid, okay? We're all dying. But what we're giving her, because yeah, she'll be dead by Tuesday and needs it more than most, is hope.
Alex rationalized what they were doing, and he taught Patrick to do the same. They were simply selling hope, something the child and the grandmother needed the most. Patrick adopted this mindset, completely drowning the conscience he originally had. That helps explain why Jane became a psychic, why he was willing to take so much money from his clients. Jane sold hope, telling people what they wanted to hear, packaging it all in clever, thoughtful observations. Jane was extremely successful, living in a villa, and he made millions. For many years, it worked out perfectly. Over time, Jane became so comfortable with his psychic persona that the moral conflict he once felt seemed to disappear. Until he went live on TV and insulted the famous mass murderer Red John. Red John took revenge. He eliminated Jane's daughter and wife. Patrick had a mental breakdown. He was admitted to a psychiatric hospital and eventually started working for the CBI. During that time, he stopped pretending to be a psychic. So, was Rebecca right? Did Red John open Jane's eyes? And I have to say, in some parts, yes. Because of that incident, Jane could no longer suppress his conscience. He let go of his father's mindset about selling hope. Jane left his persona as a psychic behind. Whenever Jane remembered his former life as a psychic, You could see how deeply his past weighed on his conscience. It was clearly no longer compatible with the man he had become. But I want to emphasize that just because Jane reconnected with his conscience doesn't mean that he suddenly became a morally good person. Jane has always had his own morals. In his view, some people can be innocent even if they are guilty in the eyes of the law, and vice versa. Nonetheless, he completely stopped pretending to be a psychic and taking money for it. So, Rebecca has a point. The incident of Red John forced Jane to reconnect with his suppressed conscience. But was it absolutely necessary to eliminate his daughter and wife? No, absolutely not. Taking on the role of a caring parent can change a person profoundly. I think seeing Charlotte grow up might have changed Patrick anyway. It's really unlikely that Patrick would have remained a psychic his whole life. At some point, he probably would have left the show business anyway, and Charlotte could have given him a strong reason to change. Therefore, I think Rebecca's claim that Red John opened Jane's eyes is too bold. She is partly right, but Red John is also responsible for Jane's sleepless nights, his huge self-hatred, his hyperfixation on revenge, and ultimately his immense suffering. Just because something positive came out of it doesn't mean that the actions themselves were positive too. The good that came from it doesn't erase the suffering it caused.